fifth series, and we've had so many people on. And Leo, this is what I'm very excited about. Our first episode for this series, 2026, is Leo, who's our guest? I'll let you go with it.
Okay, our guest today is Miriam Moriarty Owens from Tralee in County Kerry in Ireland. So it's not always that we have somebody in Ireland while I'm in Ireland as well. But this is going to be interesting for me. Now, in the words of Miriam herself, she's 68 years old. She doesn't mind admitting that, apparently. She's number 6 of 9 children. And in 1959, when she was a baby, her mother contracted tuberculosis. And while in the sanatorium, 5 of Miriam, as an 18-month baby, and 4 of her siblings were taken by the ISPCC to the Pembroke Alms Industrial School in Tralee. And she remained there until she was 16 years of age. Now, she says in her own words that the cruelty during that 15 years that she was there was relentless and sadistic. During that time, at the age of 14, she worked in Denny's bacon factory in Tralee. Imagine at 14 years of age. She left school at 16. She returned to the family. And while it wasn't perfect, at least they were all together again, in her own words. At the age of 21, she left home, went to London, and 1 year later, in 1980, at the age of 22 approximately, she got married, and she became the mother to 4 sons. 5 years later, her young son, Kieran, passed away in Miriam's arms. In 1994, she returned to Ireland on the death of her sister, Joan, who died from cancer. And she stayed in Ireland, apparently, from then on. And in 1999, the Taoiseach, Bertie Ahern, apologised on behalf of the state for what Miriam and others suffered in the industrial school in Tralee. And for those that are outside of Ireland listening to this, Taoiseach means Prime Minister.
And Leo, what's the industrial schools in Ireland?
The industrial school. Well, I'm not finished with this, Marty. Let me finish with
yes, carry on.
No problem. As Miriam says herself, there was lots of sadness in her life, but today she says life is good, and she will elaborate more on what life is like now for her in our podcast. And the important thing was that last September, on the 21st of September, Miriam, with 3 fellow survivors of the industrial school, they went on hunger strike for 51 days outside the Dáil. And for those who don't know what the Dáil is, that means the Irish Parliament. This got a lot of publicity at the time. And Miriam and those other 3 survivors did this for justice and for the remaining 4,000 survivors who are unnamed of this industrial school. As Miriam says, her life has now come full circle. And from now on, it's up to Miriam to tell us what she'd like to say.
Well, brilliant, Leo. And we'll cross over here now to Miriam and back to Kerry again. You're up in Galway, but Kerry's where you have a gallery. So let's just cross over here. And I just... Miriam, welcome to the show and thank you for coming on.
Thank you and good morning from Ireland in the beautiful County Kerry.
Yeah, and good morning, Miriam. Leo Quinlan here from Galway.
And good morning, Leo, and good morning, Marty. Thank you
Miriam,
so much.
this is a real pleasure for us, and we both know your story, in what you're doing is, and I'd like to kick it off and hand it over to Leo. But Leo, if you can just give us, for our first-time viewers, what is moral injury?
Okay, Miriam, you're here under the umbrella of Moral Injury International, and we're going to be talking about your life story, whatever it is you want to tell us. But just for maybe people who are watching this for the first time, what is moral injury? Well, Marty and I have been kind of linked with moral injury for the last 5 years because both of us are sons of army men who were in a famous battle in the Congo many years ago, and we know from veterans and from ourselves about moral injury. But It all started from a military sense, but then it's gone into all walks of life, and you come under that umbrella as well. But to explain it in layman's terms, take the military. Moral injury suffers in the military. Soldiers suffer from moral injury where they've undergone some traumatic experience and then betrayed by higher authority. Betrayed, and that's a key word in moral injury. And it's an injury to the soul. It's different to post-traumatic stress, but it's an injury to the soul. And the side effects of moral injuries, people go silent. They don't talk about it. They hide it. Maybe in later life, they'll start talking about it when something triggers it in their life. But side effects also can run into broken marriages, low self-esteem, lacking confidence, inability to hold down a job, losing friendships, alcoholism, depression, and unfortunately, suicide. And in the case that Marty and I know about, 5 of the men committed suicide that we know of. So that's really it. It's now that goes into all walks of life, into private individuals, into families, into prison service, into hospitals, into the public sector, the private sector, police forces, and so on and so forth. So that's very much in layman terms what moral injury is. So within that context of moral injury, tell us whatever it is you'd like to tell us about your life. You don't have to go into gory details or anything like that. And occasionally Marty and I will jump in just to kind of clarify something or just to kind of give you a... So it's over to you. It's over to you, Miriam.
Okay, thank you. And good morning, Australia. Good morning, Melbourne. Good morning, all my fellow patriots from the Emerald Isle. My name is Miriam. I was born on the 11th of October, 1957. I was the 6th in line, as they say, to the throne, to the Celtic throne. And I had 4 sisters and 2 brothers. And I was the baby. So during that time, TB, tuberculosis, otherwise known as, was rampant in Ireland and across the whole of the world, really, but especially Ireland for the population that was in it. And many people died of this dreaded flu-like, it used to be called the Black Death. And so basically there was no cure for it. And my mom's family all had died from it. My mother died, her father died first, or just before her confirmation, and her mother passed away when she was 21. And then in line, 3 of her brothers, her only brothers, were all died of tuberculosis, and her last brother died on May Day 1955. So I never got to meet that side of my mother's family. So naturally, Mom got TB when she was pregnant with me. And she was very, very ill. Strange enough, I was very ill. She said I weighed a bag of sugar, so I presumed that was just over 2 pounds. So I'm small now, but my God, I must have been tiny. But I was told, she did tell me, they wrapped me up in tinfoil. And I said, oh my God, that's why I need to have tinfoil in the house every day now. Because, so she did, yeah, she says. And it was another lady that fed me. But I wouldn't have known, I wouldn't have known that at the time. But thank God I know her story now, you know. So if circumstances were different, our life would have been different, more than likely. But look, I think your life is mapped out for you, and it makes you or breaks you. So, and I was a babe. Mom contracted TB, and at the time you were sent to a sanatorium, and Mom was sent to Edenburn in Tralee. The name alone is enough, So lots of people, many people that when they came out in coffins, and I'm sure when Mom went in there, she didn't expect to come home. Do you mean? She had 6 children, and then my father wasn't working. They weren't a very wealthy family, but I wouldn't, we had nothing really. Do you mean? But I suppose there was a lot of love there. So I don't know how it happened, but the ISPCC got informed that my mother was in hospital. And at the time, the fathers weren't allowed to look after the children for some reason. I don't know, even though we were living with my nana as well, which was my dad's mom. So they came and they took us. They took 5 of us away, left my eldest sister, Breda, and even Breda doesn't know to this day why they left her there. Or she ran away, I think she said. So we were taken to Killarney Court and we were brought in front of a judge and we were to be detained until I reached the age of 16. That's it. No, nothing. Now, I, along with my other 2 sisters, Joan, who was the eldest, and Anya, both Lord Mercy in their souls now, we all went in on the 16th of June, 1959. And then my brothers went to St. Joseph's Industrial School, which was literally across the road from Pembroke Alms Industrial School, Tralee. Now, I don't remember going in there, because naturally I was a baby, so... But as soon as you entered those doors, your life changed forever. The first thing they did was they stripped you of your name and they gave you a number. And mine was 1061. 1061. So that's what you would be known as for the rest of your time inside there, was a number. So they took away your name, they took away your dignity, they took away your voice. They took everything. And they literally owned you now. And they were punishing you for, they're supposed to be the Sisters of Mercy. And they were paid by the Minister for Education, the government, to take care of us. Because we were children of sick people, or mothers have died, or fathers would have died. And it's like we're being punished. I don't think my mother for 1 minute would have allowed that to happen to her children. And little did she know, because she probably said, you know, they're in here now. I don't even know if she knew we were in there. They just took us. I don't think anybody would have gone into the hospital that was contaminated with TB and they would have gone in and asked permission. They just took us without permission from my parents. So, that was it. When the doors closed, that was it. Your life, they owned you. So my first memory of actually being present in the industrial school was Christmas. And Santi, I didn't like him. Oh my God, the face was cracked and full. I was totally shitting myself. Literally, and I remember my sister Joan said, it's, you know, because she wanted me to believe in, but I didn't not want nothing. I didn't care. I never wanted to see him. I felt everything it wasn't right. And that was it. I went to school and Santi naturally came, so I just didn't. I started school at 4. At that time, you started at 4. And I do remember my first day in school, but much before that, I don't remember a lot. And for one simple reason, there was a lovely nun who looked after me when I went in, and Sister Attracta, and I have to name her because of what my sister told me, that she loved me. And when I went into the industrial school, along with Joan and Anya, they found out that Joan and Anya had contracted TB. So they were sent away to fines in Limerick for the period of up to 18 months, was the quarantine time at the time. So naturally, this nun took me under her wing. And I think she did definitely love me. Because Joan said when she came back from the hospital, I stood in front of her and I said, my name is Miriam and I'm your sister. And I caught their hands and I skipped down the corridor with them, as happy as they say as a pig in shit. And the nun used to have me now, and I had pink bows. So those memories must have been those 3 years or 2 years I was without them. the nun must have, no wonder I don't remember anything bad happening, because the nun, so to my knowledge, the nun was left and they brought this new nun in. And I swear, do I remember that day so well. I remember we were all lined up and we had to sing welcome, and we had to put up the letters WELCOMA. And I remember coming down to me and I said, M, give me M, give me M. And I got the M. And but as soon as she entered, oh my God, the fear of God went into my body. I remember her looking at her lips, and it was like she had a zip in it, and there was nothing, her tight clothes, and she looked small, but I must have been tiny. And I just didn't, I knew there was something not right. And fear really took over my body and lots of people's bodies. That was fine. I suppose my first memory of severe cruelty and to sadistic cruelty and horrific was the morning my sister Anya was to make her first Holy Communion. And the night before, my mom came up, which would have been the first time, and she gave us sweets. Little bags of sweets, penny sweets, whatever they were. Little bag, and a few of those colourful sweets were in them. But, we were delighted, and she gave on a prayer book, a rosary beads, and a medal. And I can't really I remember looking at her, but I didn't it was Mom, it was just a word, do you mean? And, but anyway, of course, we ate ours straight away and went off to bed. The following morning, Anya was making her Holy Communion, along with another girl. They were same age. So we went downstairs, myself and Joan, and I was standing at the bottom of the stairs holding my sister Joan's hand. Bear in mind, she would have been 9 at the time, and I would have been touching 5. So I was waiting at the bottom, I was so excited to see my sister on her first Holy Communion day with this white dress and a veil that I couldn't wait for my own. So I wanted to see what she looked like. So the next thing I heard some shouting, screaming, you won't eat sweets again and you'll burn in hell. And I didn't know what was happening. And then I was looking up the stairs now. To me, it was like Gone with the Wind stairs. The only way I could describe that is there was winding stairs and there was a balcony at the top. And there was flowers in it and plants. And next thing, whatever way I looked up, my sister was in her wedding dress, her Holy Communion dress, and her veil, and she threw her over the balcony. And she landed on the tiled floor, which was red and black.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I don't know, I froze. And all I could see was her in the white dress, and I could see blood. And my sister Joan was literally screaming. But I couldn't. I remember looking at the statue of Our Lady, and which was in the corridor, right behind where she dropped. And all I could see was the prayer book and the rosary beads and the medal she had the medal kind of around her neck. And Joan picked her up and put her on her knee, on her lap. And the nun just came down and walked over and said, I hope she dies. And that was it. I never remember anything. I never remember her making her Holy Communion. It's a complete blank. The other girl did make it, but I don't have no knowledge of my sister Anya. But she had to have made it at some stage. And that's when I knew evil had entered the home.
I'm so sorry to hear that. That's shocking. Yeah, and I know you were very close with Joan as well, your sister that you did lose. But carry on, please. Don't let me interrupt you.
No. So I think after that then I learned how to survive. I think there was something I think in me, when I think of it now, like being just over 2 pounds in weight, I fought to live, and then I fought now how to survive. And I was given something that probably I'm grateful for, but it should never have happened. The regime in the school was, you woke up, they got you up at 6, you made your bed, you cleaned the dormitory, and then you went to mass. After mass, you had it was porridge or whatever it was, and then you went to school. But school was exactly the same as the industrial school. We were known as the Nazareth children. Keep away from us, as if there was something really wrong with us. But that never happened to me. I had lovely friends in school. I really, really did. And there's always going to be one nun that loves you. And she loved Joan as well in the school, and was in 4th class. But when I was making my Holy Communion, the 2 years after, when Anna's supposed to have made it, the fear in my body, in case something would happen to me. And I was didn't want anybody to come and see me, because then I won't get into trouble. But I remember Joan doing my hair, cutting up the pillowcases, calling me Princess Miriam. And she said, you're going to be beautiful tomorrow. Bear in mind, Joan was 11 now, and I would have been 6. Actually, I was 6 going on 7. I wasn't even the good 7. So I still hadn't seen my mother since. I had seen my sister Breda on a few occasions, and Breda would have been 7 years older than me. So Breda would have been 15, going on 14 now. So Joan got me dressed, and the mirror was so high up that not even the tallest person on the planet could see themselves. So Joan wanted me to see me in the mirror. Kept asking to pick me up, and I could see myself in the mirror, and the ringlets, because the hair was so short, the ringlets were hanging out. But, and I remember looking at my dress, and I says, I've had the whitest dress on the planet. I remember saying, I had the most whitest dress in the world. It was extra white. And I remember saying, oh my God, I am Joan. I said, I told you were a princess. And I was going down the stairs with Joan, and who was at the bottom of my stairs but the nun and my sister Breda. And I looked, and the nun had her hands behind her back. And I went, first thing, it's the straps. I've done something wrong. What have I done? And I was coming down the stairs, and she says, your sister, no, I said, your sister's here. And I said, is my mom here? And she went, no. But Breda, my sister Breda, Mom gave me these, a prayer book, a rosary beads, and a medal. And I remember going, oh. It was just the image of Anna kept floating back, but nothing happened. I had the most wonderful morning. I made my Holy Communion in the church, and as I was sitting down in the church, there was 2 boys serving Mass. My sister Joan kind of whispered to me, they're your brothers. I went, so there was my brothers Denny and Joseph serving Mass. And putting the plate underneath me was my brother Denny. And the priest gave me I made it with another girl as well, my best friend.
I'm sorry, that would have been very emotional for you. I can understand that.
And they were handsome. I'm going, oh my God, I've got the 2 most. It was the first time I see boys. They were my brothers. And I thought they were handsome. Oh my God. I said, so I thought I'd be able to see them after Mass, but I wasn't allowed to talk to them or nothing. They were never allowed to speak to me. But we did go back to the industrial school, myself and my sister Breda, and we all had breakfast together, which was probably fabulous. And nothing happened. I had a wonderful day, even though I went from there to the laundry, to the convent. It was a wonderful day. And but I think the damage had been done 2 years previously for me to really but that was the first cruelty that happened that I visually had to see. was something that was done to my sister. And then, where myself was concerned, I was I was 7. I was just not long after making my Holy Communion. And I was in bed. It was winter. And I was in bed, but it wasn't raining. And I was asleep, and the nun woke me from my sleep. And she caught me by my hair. And she said, follow me. And all I could see was this image of she looked evil. She looked evil. And, with the habit at the time, you could barely see their face. So everything was black. And so she dragged me out of my bed in St. Bridget's dormitory, through the dormitory, opened the door down the stairs by the balcony where she threw my sister over, and still holding my hair, and then down the Sacred Heart corridor. And there was a door to the right which led out to the dog's yard. It was open spaced, but it was still part of the industrial school, but the convent overlooked it. She said, take off your nightdress and get into that box. It looked like a coffin. And don't move. Now, the night I never felt cold. It wasn't raining. So I went into that box and she said, don't move. I'll be watching you. I remember it was under the window, which was firewood was kept in it, like little sticks for the fire. But it was almost empty. But there was kind of splinters of wood there, but there wasn't many. So I laid in the box and I turned towards the window, which was Our Lady's corridor, where the statue was. And I remember saying, oh my God, like what's, I didn't even think, was I going to die? I was just I didn't feel nothing. And next thing, I heard the door slam and I had my eyes closed. And next thing, whatever way I turned around, I looked up and there was just stars everywhere. And I started to count. And I fell asleep. And my next memory was the nun gave me back my nightdress, telling me to get ready for Mass. And if I told anybody where I was, I would never see the light of day again. And as I was going up the stairs, my sister Joan was sitting on the top step. And she says, Miriam, shh. Bear in mind that she must have been there as well. So she knew exactly where I was. So she must have been up all night knowing I was in that box. I'm her sister, like her baby sister. We had this
and she couldn't do anything, could she?
No.
God love her.
Only worry and pray that I come back. And that was the love. She was a child, but she's so much. She was so special in every way. She really was. And but there was loads of abuse there. If you didn't get it yourself, you watched it. Watched every person at some stage of the day being hurt, being called names. You'd never been nothing. Your mother gave away, she hates you, she doesn't love you anymore. When you hear that for years and years. My mother did finally come to see us in 1966 when my baby brother John was born. And that was in St. Patrick's Day. And for a second, I thought that I could keep him. But boys weren't in the home at the time. So anyway, that was. But I loved my mom, but I loved Joan more. I had a different love. Do you mean there's a mother's love, but a sisterly bond. That was just beautiful. But the punishments, everybody got these. You were brought upstairs. You were stripped naked. You were put down in the shape of a cross, tied with twine, while the nun would beat you with the strap, while another nun would count. But it didn't matter. It was 1 to 100. It doesn't matter what size you were, what age you were. You're punished, and that was it. And you'll never be nothing. That's all I'd say.
And what was the punishment? Why did they do that? Was that just because of who you were, or?
Yes, you didn't have to do anything because you wouldn't dare do anything wrong. we'd nothing. We had no independence. We were controlled. We were told what to do. We couldn't say no. We had no privacy. We're in a dormitory, fleas hopping all over the bed. DDT, sleeping in DDT, which is totally banned. We had no shampoo. We had no toothpaste. We owned nothing, but they owned us. I mean, they were getting paid to look after children.
I think they were getting paid, Miriam, to abuse children.
And yeah. And the pharmaceutical company, even though they denied ever coming into our industry, I remember them. I remember them so clearly. And if you had a reaction, they gave you something else to stop you from getting sick. But they still deny to this day that they came into our industrial school. And I know for 100%, not 99.9%, 100%, my memory of them being there and giving me sugar lumps and injections in the summer holidays when the other schools were off. And then lately, in the last few years, I only found out they were sponsors of the Bunny Baby contest in the Rose of Tralee. So they're trying to deny, why would they be sponsoring a Bunny Baby contest and ignore us children up in industrial school? So they were lying. They're lying. And I still, to this day, will say 100% that the company, the Glasgow company, I have no problem saying their name, came to Tralee into our industrial school and used us as guinea pigs.
Well, and just going back, what was your mother like? And
well, my mother was beautiful, but she was a sad woman. But she never spoke, and we never, like, I suppose Joan went home before me, which was probably the saddest day of my life. Joan left on her 16th birthday. And she promised she'd come back for us. And she did. And I don't know, I think, was Mum trying to get us out for years, and Joan gave her a bit of a lift. Because, nobody talked about it, so I don't know the full circumstances. But I know Joan left in October 1969, and we left in July 1970. So, to me, it was like a 9 months of pregnancy, did Mum carry the grief? And that's why she couldn't come and visit us. It was too hurtful to see us. But then we did go home, and I don't know, we went from a big house to a really tiny house. It was like a bungalow, but it was, imagine I wanted to go back. I wanted to go back.
You did. And Miriam, just to move on a bit, because I see you're emotional there and you're getting me emotional, but did you have any good times, first of all, in the school?
Oh,
you did mention the nun. Did you have any good times for yourself?
Yeah. Of course you did. I mean, you're living in a dormitory. The mischief we would get up to, I used to think I could fly. And it's only when we meet up and we talk about these things that you learn stuff about yourself every day, how we survived, and we did have fun. Do you know what I mean? And we did play. Do you know what I mean? But I'm going to be totally honest with you, Leo and Marty, we didn't have a lot of play, but there was a lot of cruelty. So yes, we had good times at night, but nighttime is also a fearful time. So you could say happy times. They're few and far between.
Can I jump in here?
That's been honest, like.
I know.
Leo.
You're getting all emotional as well, Miriam, because I was reared in Galway, and it was an industrialist school in Galway. And when we played football against the boys from the industrial school, you know, in our ignorance and our innocence at 10, 11 years of age, there was something different about the boys from the industrial school, as if there was something,
Yeah.
I don't know, hard to say, but the way they were being treated, even by us who, playing, it was a shocking, shocking situation, everything in Ireland. And look, I'm just conscious of the fact that
No,
we're
I'm
more,
fine now.
we're more than halfway through talking to you. And I'd love to know a little bit more about, I know in your biography, what you sent us there, when you went home, things were not absolutely perfect, but they were a hell of a
No,
lot better. Then you went to England at the age of 20 or something like that. You got married at the
21,
age
yeah.
of 21, then you got married at the age of 22, and so on, and you had children, and unfortunately, young Kieran passed away in your own arms, and so on and so forth. So, if you don't mind, can we jump
Yeah,
some years forward and hear about the rest of your life and how the industrial school uh, episodes or experience
yeah,
affected the rest of your life and how it's
yeah,
affecting you now. Bearing in mind, we're talking about moral injury and how the
yeah,
sense of betrayal, maybe by higher authority, and I'm not putting words into your mouth,
yeah,
but I'd
yeah,
love to hear about that.
yeah. So I suppose what happened was Joan died on the 16th of June, 1994. And before she died, she said to me a couple of things, but she says, I want you to be Miriam. I want you to get back, Miriam.
Mhm.
And I was still married at the time, still living in London, and I went, okay. But I didn't dwell on it, but that's all she left me at the end was whatever was left in her advice, and it was great. So Bertie Hearn, on the 11th of May 1999, I was in London, and Sky News came on, and it says Bertie Hearn stood on the steps of the door and apologised on behalf of the state and the people of Ireland for the cruelty and sexual abuse that happened in all industrial and reformatory schools in Ireland. So he apologised on behalf of the state and the people of Ireland. So so my mum was after passing away in 1996, but I'd already had made contact with a load of solicitors in Kerry, putting in this, writing letters, and nobody would take the case or anything. So when the apology came then, it just happened the year I left my husband, and something happened, and I came back to Ireland with my two youngest sons, and I went into a refuge, and I stayed there for 13 weeks. I went on the 13th of September, and I came out, would you believe it, today, on the 13th of January, 2000. But I stayed in a refuge, and it was probably changed my life forever. It was there I learned to grow. And I made a statement to the guards about the cruelty that happened in the industrial school in Tralee. And they came up to adapt, and they took my statement for 2 days. And I think that was the first step I took in justice for not just, I didn't even think of myself, justice for Joan. That's basically what I was doing it for. And they killed her. She got cancer. They did that to her. The nuns killed her. So it was just all a con. The redress board, they didn't want us to go to court and cost the state too much. They made a deal with the church, a 50-50 deal, that the money, the compensation we get, but they never paid even up to this day. They haven't paid all the money. I mean, so it was just a dirty deal, and anything that's done dirty is not right. So solicitors got involved. They made millions out of our cruelty. So we told our statement, we told our story to the redress board. They didn't believe us. They threw us money. If you didn't take it, you were nothing. Do you mean? They didn't believe us. No matter what we told them, they didn't believe us. The church had loads of barristers, solicitors. We had to go by what they were. So we had no, they never represented us, the solicitors. the government made a deal with them. You get as less as possible for anybody. So your story meant nothing. I spent 13 years in that head hole, and they didn't believe a word I said. I didn't believe anybody. But strangely enough, to all my knowledge, the men got more than the women, which is it's a fact now. But anyway, I said money meant nothing. I was after getting my council house. I said to them clearly, look, I don't want anything. Can I have the house, the home? I'd have a home for my children. No way. Do you mean as if I wasn't worth? It was a council house. It was just after moving in. And everything was new. So anyway, I took the money and do you know what? I spent it as like it was going through a fire. I didn't care. But the first new bed I ever had, everything was new, and I still have it 21 years ago. So
and Miriam, can I just ask you a question there about your story? You've had a tough life and everything, but you're very strong women. You've got the grandkids and your kids. Can I just ask a question, and forgive me for asking? In your deepest moments, everything you went through, did you ever think about suicide or that contemplate in your head?
I don't know what the word suicide, because I wouldn't have known that word.
Yeah.
But I know that I felt rock bottom many times. But it was like something always there was always something that lifted, that gave me the courage, the strength.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have lasted very long. But I wouldn't have known the word suicide years ago. But I know that I felt that what's going to happen next? How am I going to get over this? But I think in my heart and my soul and my truth and my knowledge of life, I think I was born a survivor. I think lots of people have that survival thing in them, and not everybody has it, unfortunately. But I sometimes think the people that are brought up the worst have the strength, because they know what cruelty is and the suffering and how to survive, how to, we're built with so much stuff, we don't find it sometimes.
And like you said, which I thought was lovely when you said that on your thing, is that it was your children that kept you going.
Yeah.
And I know that with your grandchildren, it was your children that kept you going.
But I think when I had my first son, I remember lying in the labour ward. Now, I thought I was getting my legs amputated. I didn't know what was happening. I was so naive. I thought, I swear to God, I didn't know what was, I am morphine. The gas map was all over the place. And I was like 6'9" when I was fully pregnant. And my son was 6 pounds, 9 ounces.
Wow.
And I remember, he was like, I could not believe. From when a nun could tell me, and I suppose that's when it all came back to me, there'll never be nothing. I am a mother. What more can I ask for in life? I had given birth to this. I know what I was happening, but I said nobody would ever take you away. And they were the words I said at the minute he was born. And I suppose there's a look. There's then your protection comes up, that I will do anything for my son. And nobody will ever touch you or hurt you, but I will treasure you and love you, which I did to all my children. Probably over compensated them for not with toys or anything. I wouldn't be that person. They're not materialistic by no means. Santi bought them an alarm clock to get up for school. That was one of them. When they were 7.
Done. Did it work, or did the alarm not work?
Oh no, the alarm. And you know what? I never had to call him.
Yeah.
So basically, just giving them things for life, to look after themselves. Not the boys are I think they still never grow up as much as girls do. I think boys want to be with their mom, especially. They pull at the heartstrings. They really do. And then I had four sons. My little Kieran passed. But I suppose, Leo, and John, Marty, you kind of, but I don't know. I always think that when Joan said I was special, I think she meant it. Not special to people, but a very special.
I know what Yeah, she knew. And I think what I gathered with you is just going through what you said, and I'm going to pass over to Leah. But what you said, I think you had to be a parent
Yes.
before you grew up, from a child. You
Yeah.
didn't go from child growing up, you went straight from child to be a
Yeah.
parent and independent.
I mean, I was only looked like a child myself in the bed, holding this little
Yeah.
beautiful baby boy. And I really did, because I would have looked quite young. And Laura Ingalls used to call me the little house on the prairie,
That's
just to
right. I
look at that.
remember that. Yeah, very well.
And I
I can,
loved London.
yeah, I can empathize. I can empathize a lot with you there, because I have five sons, you
Oh,
know, so and three daughters.
oh my God. Oh,
Yeah,
goodness.
yeah, I know.
He's got
We're
his
blessed.
own army.
Yeah, we're
Yes,
blessed.
yeah.
We're absolutely blessed. And so
But
but coming back again to the moral injury bit and so on. One common trend that seems to come through all of our podcasts when we're talking to people like yourself and other ladies and men and so on is the betrayal factor.
oh, yeah.
Betrayal by higher authorities, and from your 18 months age onwards, the betrayal by the nuns, the betrayal by the people
Yeah.
that should have protected you, the betrayal later on when you got
Yeah.
solicitors and the government and
Oh,
the
yeah.
state, the constant betrayal. And,
And
there's the old story in the military side of it is that when you've got a problem like this, the three Ds, they just deny everything, they
yeah,
delay everything, and they hope you die and go away.
yeah. Deny till you die.
That's what we have. So basically, what you're saying just validates again what we have heard from many other people. But
Oh, correct.
coming to okay, tell us a bit about you went on a hunger strike for 51 days, and I'm
Yeah.
aware of this.
You see,
I'm
but
aware of this
there was
outside
always
the
something.
door.
Yeah. I think what happened was uh, I always blamed my father for giving us away, right? And my court order, because we were given a court order, but you had to prove when you went to redress that you were in one of these. So everybody that was put in there got only from the industrial and the reformed schools were taken to court. So you got a criminal record. So there was a couple of friends of mine and my brother, they wanted to go years ago now, say to America, and they wanted to join the army, and they were refused on the grounds of the criminal record. Do you know, and they would never have committed it. But it boils down to these criminal records that you had when you were taken as children by the state and sentenced, because it was a court, judge, and no jury, but judge, you're going away. And basically, you were sentenced to 10 because you're an unfit parent who didn't show proper guardianship, all the lies. So I always had my court record with me. Do you know what I mean? And going like, so, justice. I said, they never apologized for us taking us away. And, you know, they never gave us the promise that they'd look after us for the rest of our lives for the damage they did to us in these places. But nothing was happening. Nothing. They were ignoring us. Absolutely, email after email. But the more times that they didn't ignore us, it fed us more strength, saying, you know, you will not ignore us. We're human beings. We're not numbers anymore. We have a voice now. We can speak for ourselves. No solicitor should have been involved with us. They'd class us as stupid, fake, drug addicts, alcoholics, right? Unfortunately, some people did die of suicide. Some people did turn to alcohol and drugs, not because of their own doing. It's because they couldn't handle what happened to them. And they felt outside from a society that forgot about people that were brought up in these industrial and reformatory schools. They came out to nothing, rented out to farmers, rented out to different people to be abused. Nobody knows what happened behind that. Every person is different. And that's why everybody should be treated equally, looked at with respect. Do you know, we never asked for this. The state did this to us. It was always in my head. Yeah, the church, the nuns, but they were paid by the state to look after us. So the state never lived up to their promises in 1999 when Bertie Ahern made the apology. So
I think it's your book, which I recommend to everyone. Shush, don't tell. Your book. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's
Thank you.
that kind of the word itself, shush, don't tell. I've looked at means a lot because you were silenced. Now, just because we're running out of time soon, guys, but I want to ask you, I did write down you've like you've got the 4 grandkids and you've got on the way. And I wanted to ask you a question was run to my head last night. The way you loved your children, that yet you were not abandoned, you were taken away from your family. And I see the pictures, which will be shown these at the end of the show, all the pictures that you've sent me with your grandkids and that. Did that make you a stronger woman? Because you're very strong. You know what I mean? By saying that.
I think it's not just, I think myself where children are concerned. Now, I'm just talking about every time, because I'm a child kind of officer with my nephew and his wife. They have a state school. And I look after the little 4 and 5 year olds. So I look after them all right.
Yeah.
And there's so much joy when I see a child dance, sing. They tell you that you could be, I want to be that child with them. So when I sit on that floor with them in state school and we chat and I say about Santi and, you know, the tooth fairy, I get, but little do they know, I live my life now through children.
That's why I asked that. I know.
I want to be that child. And the more the merrier. The more the merrier. Because they're all individuals. And I love individual characters. I do love a child that's quiet to bring it out and, you know, and tell him and her that they're brilliant. They're going to be amazing people. Just give them a lift. But then, you know, it was my saving grace during hunger strike. Coming down on a Thursday and spending the 2 hours on a Thursday, 2 hours on a Friday, and then the 2 hours on Saturday morning coming back up to Dublin. I never ate one single bite for 51 days. I was along with my fellow hunger strikers. For the 51 days, I never felt hungry, not once.
Can you mention the hunger strikers that you're with?
Pardon?
Give them a shout out.
Oh, yes. There was Mary Dunleavy Green. Mary was 73 years of age. Mary was in Limerick, and she's now living in Carlow. And Mary was there in Mount Mellick in Limerick. Then there was Mary Donovan, who was brought up in Pembroke Alms Industrial School. Not with me, but I remember her being there for a year when I was there. And then there was Morris, Patton O'Connor, who was also in Pembroke Alms, who I had as a baby. And so there was 3 from Tralee, and then Mary's living in Tipperary, you know, and Morrison's Carrick. So we kind of did a collective together, saying that we'd written to the every TD, all, and blank, nothing, absolutely nothing. And there was a proposal put in by the Mary, and Morris was involved in it. And out of the 17 or something recommendations, they got nothing. Nothing. So basically, all we wanted was proper health care. What else was it? Oh, to squash our criminal records, which was my main.
I see that you on the photographs you sent me there with Catherine Connolly, the new president. You seem to have a lovely outside the door, which is
that was the first few days now, and then I got to tell you something. The most humane person I've ever. Just even looking at her, she didn't come with gangs. She came in the morning. She came on her own. She was really, really so worried about us. But the empathy that gave her natural empathy, because I think when you're brought up, you're very wary of people, the falseness of people. But she was probably the most genuine human being outside of for years that I'd ever met. I felt it. I felt it. Even the hug. I mean,
Yeah.
there's something. And
I've seen the picture with the photograph of you holding hands, and
yes,
you looked.
it was just.
You were
it was
comfortable.
Yeah, it was just like a comfort. You know, it wasn't a grab. It was just a natural hold of somebody's. And you know, when somebody holds your hand, if you get it go through your body, that you give that little squeeze and say, "You will be okay." It was like a message.
Yeah,
you're going to be okay. But it did. We did finally cave in. We didn't cave in. The government caved in. The night before President Connolly's inauguration.
Yeah.
But they left us there for 51 days.
Well, our president, Catherine Connolly, I know her slightly, and Marty and I are fighting a little battle ourselves for certain recognition. We won't bother going into it now, but we found also that Catherine Connolly was very supportive. She's a good Galway woman, comes from a large family, so she can empathize with lots of things, you know. And she's.
I love her naturalness. There's no I love, and then I love
BS. There's no BS.
No, and I love her Irish. I love her Irish language, and I love the way she speaks it.
And I love her bike. Yes.
Yeah.
She rides a bike. And can I say now, we've got to finish up, but look, there's so many other survivors within the industrial school. I think you said something, but
we did 4,000 for the remaining 4,000.
Yeah, I'd like you, just before we close up the show, could you give some advice to these listeners or politicians that are listening to this show now all over the world?
Right. I just want to say something to people. We all have rights, right? And for anybody that was brought up in any industrial school, reformatory school, Madeline laundries, mother and baby homes, we have a voice. And if we don't stand up for what was done wrong to us, if you can't stand and fight for yourself, and I'm talking about not fist fights, but vocally expressing yourself with dignity and respect, and telling the people, never underestimate what power a person has in their body. It's like, if you tell the truth, which I can guarantee you 100%, everything I speak is the truth. If you speak the truth, and if you stand in front of them, and if you look at them straight in the face and say, "Ye did this to us," you will never do to us again. Once, they might be the government of any government, but remember, you are a human being, and you have every right to be respected. Everybody should be treated, no matter who you are, where you come from, where you live, because once you close your door, nobody knows what goes on behind closed doors. So be very careful about other people. And remember, they're just people with a title. But nobody can take your title away, because the only title you need is your name. Because they might have given us a number. I'm not a number anymore. Remember that. Everything is numbered now. My name is Miriam, and this is my voice. And I would use it to the best of my ability. I would help anybody. And I think myself that the government, all governments all over the world, should respect its citizens, and their citizens do come first. And that's because we were left down as children. But I will never, ever let anybody ever speak to me or disrespect me. We all need some loving and respect. And I think I was born for a reason, not a season. That's all I can say to you all. Thank you all.
Very good. Leo, before I close up, can I get you to put in a final word there, please?
Well, various things go
hard to follow.
Very hard to follow, but you triggered so many things on my mind, Miriam. But I think, as I said, I think the government should respect its citizens. And that's because we were left down as children. But I will never, ever let anybody ever speak to me or disrespect me. We all need some loving and respect. And I think I was born for a reason, not a season. That's all I can say to you all. Thank you all for listening. Thank you very much, because once again, you have confirmed the journey Marty and I are on, the message that we're trying to give to people, raising the awareness of moral injury, that it does exist and how people suffer as a result of their experiences and hiding moral injury, or having it and hiding everything inside them for years, maybe, and not coming out, etc., etc., etc. But you validated what we're doing. It's the same in every country. It's the same in Australia. We've incidents like you described in Australia. It's the same in England, the same in other countries, and so on. And everything you've said can be transferred, transgenerational. It can be transferred to other countries, and it'll be exactly the same. And for that, I thank you very much. And the one, as you said in something you sent us, it says, you're not 1061 anymore, you're Miriam.
No.
You're not a number now, you're a person. And I do think that you're in a very, very good place now. You know, because of your strength of character, your mental strength, and because of the sons you've got and the grandchildren you've got, and of course living in a beautiful place like County Kerry.
And my family and my
anything but good from now on. And I just wish you the very, very best. And I'll probably touch base with you if I can sometime during the summer down in County Kerry, if that's okay with you.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Well, I look forward to that, Miriam. And listen,
thank you so much for having me, and I appreciate it.
Miriam, it's a pleasure. And can I just say that I got contacted by a friend of all of ours. Leo, myself, and her have a connection, but I didn't know. And she contacted me and said, you must speak to this lady, Miriam. She is unbelievable. And if I can do a shout out to her friend in Mullingar, Kathleen Lafferty.
Yeah, I saw. She's messaged me yesterday. Hi, Kathleen.
She's adorable. Yes, thank you, Kathleen. And that's why we all got together. And can I say, Miriam, what's next for you before I let you go?
What's next? Now we're waiting for the finalisation of what he was promised, Martin promised us. And hopefully now I'm not saying when, we haven't got a clue, but hopefully in the next couple of weeks that everything is finalised, so we can tell people what is the final outcome of the mediation, with Micheál Martin and the Minister for Education, the Minister for Justice. Yeah. And basically all I want is the apology for us giving us a criminal record, for my sisters Joan and Anna Lortimer and their son, that I can, and for my mother and my father.
Correct.
That they were not, it was not their fault. And just to have that piece of paper and justice then, that, and I think...
And Miriam, would that give you closure?
Yes, 100%, yeah.
Okay.
But then there's other things that, I like justice for everybody. It doesn't have to be for the industrial schools. Justice for the people that don't have a voice. I want to be their voice. I want to be, not that I can do it, but I speak for them. It's not for I never speak for myself. I speak for thousands of people. Yeah. And that's what my message want. I want to be that message, because I didn't have a voice as a child, but my God, as my mother said to me once, you didn't.
You've made up for it now.
Yeah, you didn't kiss the brownies, and you probably ate it. But that's my message. I think that I'd like to be people's voices for justice and for truth, and for the people that don't have a voice, or can't, through circumstances that they can't have. That's hopefully I can do that.
Yeah, well said, Miriam. Well said. And you just won't reach a few thousand people with this now. Over the next while, what you've just said is going to go to millions of people, not just a
Thank
few
you
thousand.
so much.
And can I just say straight off to just finish off, Miriam, you're very brave, strong, and you're absolutely adorable. I could listen to you all day. This is the worst part of my job, having to cut off the show after an hour.
It's okay.
But can I say, we put up and they can follow you, and I recommend with your book, which people see at the start and that. And
yes.
And I thank you and all the other people, the other three that were on the hunger strike.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Now, can I ask you one question before we finish? After you went off the hunger strike, what did you have to eat? You would have been starving.
You won't believe this. I was 8 stone 1 and I came down to 6 stone 2. And I
Good.
love curry. I love curry. And I was sick of Lucozade. I was sick of electrolytes. I was sick of water. I was sick of milk. I was sick of tea. And my son and Eddie, my fiance, he said, "This is the truth." I said, "I don't want to eat the curry, but I want to taste it." Right? Because I just wanted a different taste in my mouth. I tasted the curry. I didn't eat it, but I wanted just a fiery taste. And then I had porridge. The strangest thing was porridge. I had a scrambled egg and toast.
Oh. Well,
Okay.
Miriam, can I just say, Leo's the same as I just thank you very much for coming on the show. And you're just an amazing, we'll stay in touch. And I'd like to thank all our audience here in Australia, New Zealand, and all over the world. And please tune in. And you can follow us on moralinjuryinternational.com or on my show, Life Stories with Marty. You can get all the links there. Miriam, thank you so much.
God bless you
Very
all.
good.
Stay safe, be
God bless
kind,
you.
and I hope 2026 is going to be a good year for everybody. And thank you so much.
It's our
God bless
pleasure, and thank you for coming on.
Thank you. Goodbye.
All right. Good
God
night,
bless you.
guys. Thank you very much from Melbourne.